Trojan family, what's up, man? USCJ here. It's the top of the morning. It's the top of the morning. Listen, I hope everybody is getting ready to get up, get out, and make some things happen this morning. Listen, we got a couple of things that we got to address that happened over the weekend. We talked about a couple of things already. This is the day. Listen, we are still riding high. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. We're happy about what's happening with the USC football program right now. And look, it's straight up go time. And if you guys watch me, you guys already know yesterday I brought a video talking about a couple of things that Eric Henderson is and the new coach, Skylar Jones, how they tag teaming on this thing right now. The new coach that we have coming from the Rams, he was Eric Henderson's assistant. Go back and watch that video. These guys are really, really working very, very well together. And I'm just going to call it like it is. Listen, we haven't seen recruiting like this. Let me say this, the recruiting effort like this in a long time. It looked like they are putting extras on it right now as it relates to recruiting. And every time I turn around, Eric Henderson is at somebody's front door of the high school or whatever, taking pictures, man. And I love what I see right now. I love the enthusiasm. Look, he looks like he's just happy to be there. So go back and watch that video from yesterday. I kind of touched on that, just kind of summarized some of the guys from the weekend. But one of the guys that I didn't talk about, which is who I think USC may be winning a head-to-head matchup with right now. And it's out of Utah and USC. And I hope I'm going to pronounce his name right. I want to talk about him. His name is Ratamana Belabelova. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. It's between USC and Utah. Of course, you guys already know USC had him visit. He was visiting this past weekend, and I think he had an outstanding time. I think he really enjoyed himself. But I want to talk about some comments that some Utah message boards are talking about because it looks like it's in favor of USC. Also, I want to address the Big Ten situation. I wasn't able to do that over the weekend. I was in Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl. Had outstanding time with that. But this is very, very serious. And, I really kind of feel suspect about that, because it's really, listen, I feel like the Big Ten had a upper hand, especially with the media rights. I really feel like, and I'm not against the SEC. That's just not my thing. But I just feel like ESPN and the SEC has always kind of been somewhat in bed together. And I don't know if the Big Ten commissioner reached out to the SEC commissioner, Greg Sankey, or, I feel like it was vice versa. I feel like the SEC commissioner probably reached out to him. And, given the fact that what's taking place, all of it stemming from Tennessee. So we'll talk about that. But real quick, let's get on this recruit real quick. This is him right here. For those who don't know, he's a 4-star prospect, and it's out of Utah and USC. But we got to talk about some of the comments that took place over the weekend as it relates to this, because I think there are some message boards now that are recognizing the fact that this guy may be actually getting ready to come to USC. You guys can hit me in the comment section. You guys can tell me what you think. But right now, what we're recognizing and realizing with USC, they are really, 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 really moving and grooving to another level. And I think it's important for fans to recognize that. There were some fans that said, look, Jay, we're getting a lot of guys, constantly getting a lot of guys on campus, but where are the recruits? But let's get to a message real quick. This is coming from a USC message board, and this is almost like an excuse as to, why they probably not going to get this new recruit right here, this recruit that we're referring to. But it says here, I'd be interested. He says, it'd be interesting choice, Utah or USC. Just like it'd be interesting if he would pick USC. He also says this, they're already bringing in Carlisle Jones and Jide Abasari from the high school ranks, plus Isaiah Ranks and Nate Clifton from the portal. So do they really bring in another defensive tackle in the class? And if so, it'll really be a high school guy. So look, man, those are some comments coming from a Utah fan. And here's the thing, if Utah fans, here's my main purpose of bringing this up. If Utah fans are recognizing that, number one, they're putting up an excuse as to why possibly they might not be landing this kid. And number two, they're recognizing that, listen, USC is bringing in Carlisle Jones. They're bringing in Jide Abasari. They're bringing in Nate Clifton from Vanderbilt. They're bringing in all of these different guys, Isaiah Rakes. If they can recognize it, why can't we recognize it? I recognize it, but why can't we recognize the defensive front that USC has already put together. And that was one of the things that I brought up. Does USC have enough right now on the defensive front to compete? I absolutely think so. Listen, these guys some of them are younger, absolutely, but you got a couple of veterans, Isaiah Rakes, Nate Clifton. You got a couple of guys that are veteran that I think can come and move and groove, and I think USC is going to absolutely be better. Do I think we need one more? Absolutely. I think we could put one more in there and, line them up next to Bear Alexander in the rotation or whatever. Line them up next to Bear Alexander, Isaiah Rakes, of course. So that is the case for that. But that's what's going on with the Utah situation. Now, I want to move on to this Big Ten situation with the SEC. I believe it's kind of a ridiculous situation. And here's the reason why. And you see it here, the comments, the Big Ten, SEC, appear to be making a venture move toward the, joining together. Now, they're saying that it's not a breaking away of the NCAA. I think it's absolutely breaking away from the NCAA. You got two of the biggest companies, two of the biggest conferences, the SEC and the Big Ten, both of them with the two biggest media markets. Why else would you need the NCAA at this point? I mean, they could set their own structure in place. They could put their own bylaws in place. And I mean, you don't need the NCAA. And right now, listen, the NCAA is lost in the sauce anyway, because why haven't they put the proper rules in place, before this even came up? They just kind of let the transfer portal, they let the NIL situation really get out of control. Now it's to the point to where they're not saying it, of course, but if somebody else is saying it, somebody else is writing it, and they're putting this information out there, it's absolutely probably going to happen. And, they can say whatever they want. And you see it here, pressures are mounting. We are not going to be status quo. So now you essentially breaking away. And my thing is, did the Big Ten commissioner, did you reach out to him, or did the SEC commissioner reach out to him? I just really believe that the Big Ten was in had an upper hand, my opinion, on the SEC, possibly bringing in Notre Dame, had the biggest media deal conference package, and as a result, we had the upper hand. But now you join in forces. Now it's like, okay, we we could essentially be on the same level playing field. But I'm not for one way for another. But let me say this: everything is stemming from this with Nico. And I big shout out to Nico. He's from California. And there's nothing toward him. Get your money, man, however you got to get it. But it's all stemming from this, the NCAA wanting to investigate them. And it's hypocrisy on the biggest level. You want to investigate certain ones, and everybody's essentially doing the same thing. I can't hate on Tennessee because of some of what they have going on. And I can't even hate on them because they won't give Reggie his trophy back. Give Reggie his trophy back. Number one, you see all this stuff that's taking place in your hypocrisy. Now you want to investigate everybody else, but you cannot give Reggie his trophy back. I mean, you reap what you sow. The NCAA has brought all these problems on themselves. So this is like a twofold message, man. It's one towards the NCAA and another toward the Big Ten commissioner. I just feel like we could have stayed in our lane and been absolutely fine. On the flip side, the NCAA, the hypocrisy right now that's taking place with all these schools, and I'm not going to mention these schools, but you got several schools. You remember Nick Saban called out, I can mention them because he called them out, but Nick Saban called out Texas A&M, said they buying up all these players. He even implicated Deion Sanders, and that wasn't necessarily the case. Deion came back and kind of put that information out there, but this thing is an absolute mess, man. You guys should drop those comments. Hit me in the comments. Let me know, what are you guys' thoughts on the NCAA, the current state of the NCAA and how everything is moving and grooving. I don't know. Is it going to be a one conference? The Big Ten and the SEC? What's going to happen to the Big 12? What's going to happen to the Mountain West, those smaller, the Conference USAs, the Sun Belts? What's going to happen to all those schools? Hit me in the comments. Drop those comments. Let me know. And what are your thoughts with the head-to-head matchup battle with USC versus Utah, and the thoughts that Utah's recognizing the talent that USC has it, man? Drop those comments. And real quick, I want you guys to watch this real quick. I have something I wanted to show you guys. You guys already know. I already told you. Check this out. Women's line as well called Babe. However, they do have. What's up, Trojan family? Listen, man, I'm happy to announce that I am partnering up with a company called Bucked Up. Bucked Up has a long line of supplements. Listen, and these are a couple of things that I use right here. They have a women's line as well called Babe. However, they do have men that use some of the products called Babe, such as the collagen product, which is one of the ones that I use. They also have a product that I use right here called Rook. But here's my main one right here. These are bucked up energy shots. I don't like drinking coffee. You guys might like it, but I don't like it. So any event that I want some energy, I will use the bucked up energy shots, or I will have a cold bucked up in the refrigerator. All right, that is the bucked up product. You guys use USCJ32 code. You go to buckedup.com, use USCJ32, and you will get a discount. Listen, I'm out of here, man. Listen, everybody stay blessed. Don't forget, make sure you get up, get out, and make some things happen. Until later on, fight on, fight on, fight on.